Here's going to be a ranking of all the haunted houses at 2024's Universal Studios Hollywood Halloween Horror Nights. Halloween Horror Nights is my must-do tradition for Halloween season every year. I just love the atmosphere and feeling like you're stepping into the film universe when you're actually in those haunted houses. Now, unlike previous years though, through maximum efficiency of my group and I, we were able to go through all the haunted houses in the same night with no express pass. In previous years, I've been able to do everything, but it took multiple trips. If you want to see my full footage of all the haunted houses, you can check it out on my theme park channel, Attracted to Attractions. This ranking will only include haunted houses, so this year's Blumhouse Terror Tram or Late Night with Chucky will not be included. I arguably could have included the Terror Tram experience, but it's different enough from your typical haunted house experience that I felt it was best not to include it here. With all that in mind, sit back and relax, and I hope you enjoy.
I didn't want you to see this.
Uh-oh, I didn't see anything.
Universal Monsters Eternal Bloodlines was located in a spot I had never seen for a haunted house before. You had to walk behind the Jurassic World entrance, and that took you to a backstage area where the haunted house was located. The cool thing about this though is that apparently it's where those original Frankenstein and Universal monster films were filmed. That's about the only good thing I have to say here. It feels like every year they recycle some sort of Universal monster maze, and every year it's fairly yawn-inducing, and this was the worst one yet that I've seen. It was a big step down from the Bride of Frankenstein maze from 2021. There was just no great moments here, no great imagery. It had so many black hallways, which is usually a sign that a maze doesn't have shit going on. The A Quiet Place haunted house was located in the upper lot on the way to the Secret Life of Pets ride on the left. This was the maze I was most curious about this year and just how they would practically pull off the creatures. The nature of how they looked meant it was pretty tough to have actors in a suit trying to be those creatures. Throughout the maze, life-size animatronics were used to bring the creatures to life. And the creatures looked fantastic and were pulled off better than I ever could have imagined. Due to the size of the creatures though, this maze lacked real jump scares or tension because you could always plainly see the creatures ahead of you at all times. Despite this though, this maze was a cool enough recreation of the key moments from the first A Quiet Place. I felt a missed opportunity though was the lack of the haunted house replicating the silence in those films, as it was as loud and thunderous as any other haunted house, but that's not really what A Quiet Place should be. The Weekend Nightmare Trilogy was the first maze our group did. This haunted house was located right by the Transformers building in between it and Super Mario World. This was a follow-up to the Weekend maze from just a couple years ago. The idea was the same here, having a bunch of twisted, nightmarish imagery centered around the Weekend. I guess while in this version, I couldn't help but think of the 2022 maze, which would definitely get my vote for being better. But this was still a fun, executed maze and delivered on what you would expect. Points for having a great entrance and of course great music while you're in there.
Oh no!
The Ghostbusters Frozen Empire haunted house was located in the backlot section behind Wizarding World. Now I went on the Ghostbusters maze in 2019, my first ever year going to Horror Nights. That maze was centered around the original film. This one was obviously based on the movie that just came out this year. My friend kind of summed this one up perfectly, saying that not really scary, but nicely themed and capturing the highlights from the movie. I thought a missed opportunity was not having a section where it did feel really cold, although that might have been a scare actor safety issue. They did though nicely pull off that tall frozen ghost demon thing that was the film's main villain. What gave them extra content to work with here was including some stuff from the original two movies, like the demon dog things and the Scarelli brothers. And of course, you gotta have Slimer, and yes, I got slimed pretty good.
Disgusting blob.
Dead Exposure Death Valley was an original maze located just behind the Mummy ride. It centers on a research facility affected by a nuclear explosion, and you get a bunch of people and animals turned into radiated zombies. The idea and look of this maze were great. It really did feel like you were walking through a research facility that's just gone to shit. But honestly, it had my favorite moment of all of Horror Nights, and that was that radiated gorilla. It was just a great touch to a surprisingly fun maze. Monstros 2, The Nightmares of Latin America was located in the upper lot section in that production plaza area, right behind that eating section. This haunted house was a sequel to last year's Monsters of Latin America. The concept was the same here, a showcase of various monsters, or I guess in this case, nightmares from Latin American culture. Each showcase nightmare here got a pretty cool segment. There was one that looked just like Ernesto de la Cruz. The most prominently shown one here was that demon-looking one in a robe that had some sharp-ass teeth. This maze had an effective ethnic smell to it. It's kind of hard to describe. Loved that section that smelled like candles. The sets looked great. And it had my favorite image of all of Horror Nights this year. And that was that big head version of that toothpaste nightmare I was talking about.
That's what I'm talking about.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Legacy of Leatherface haunted house was located in the bottom lower lot section behind the Transformers building. While a Texas Chainsaw maze was done just a few years ago in 2021 based on the original film, this maze was obviously done to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the first film and actually the entire franchise. This maze was a reflection of that, as it wasn't just limited to the original film, but it featured key moments, characters, and looks of Leatherface from the original film, the sequels, and the remakes. Naturally, just the look and feel of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and what it's all about is going to make for a very intense and smelly maze, but it's cool to see the history and the legacy of the entire series covered here. And yes, the sound of chainsaws is just perfect for jump scares. The Insidious The Further haunted house, like Ghostbusters, was located in the backlot section behind Wizarding World. Now, I've yet to see any of the Insidious films, but I had heard from people that went on this maze that it was the scariest one. Scariest thing here, though, was easily the wait time. Our group spent about an hour and a half stuck in an underground garage section where it was hard to hear each other talk. It was just a brutal wait, but the maze was most definitely worth it. I feel like it was almost better not having seen the films because I didn't know what to expect. Besides, there was some crazy Darth Maul looking motherfucker from the posters trying to get you. But the red color aesthetic through the maze just looked awesome, and there was just weird creepy shit all over the place in glorious red color fashion. Besides the constant great atmosphere and the brutal wait time, the other notable moments here was hearing that Tiny Tim song as you enter, which I'm guessing is from the films, but I couldn't help but think of SpongeBob when I heard that song.
This is the Krabby Patty music. With that like high-ass Hawaiian voice.
But the other moment was when a dummy was throwing up in a bathroom, and it legit smelled like vomit.
Oh, it actually smells like vomit. Code V. Code V.
It legit smelled awful, but I guess that was just another example of this maze going above and beyond to deliver a great experience in the overall best haunted house at 2024's Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh, I keep missing it. There we go. Thank you. Oh, another one. Perfect. One more. Thank you. Oh, God. Hey, there we go. That was fun.
And there you have it with my ranking of all the haunted houses at 2024's Universal Studios Hollywood Halloween Horror Nights. Another fun year of Horror Night shenanigans. I always have a great time going to Horror Nights no matter what the haunted house lineup is for the year. For me to ever not enjoy it, every maze would have to be as bad as the Eternal Bloodlines experience. If Universal Studios Orlando ever lifts their no filming policy for their haunted houses, then eventually I'll check their version out. So that'll do it for this ranking of all the haunted houses at Horror Nights 2024. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you for watching.
This is the Late Night with Chucky, signing off! Nope, Diane, run! Oh, damn, that's a chainsaw. Diane! That's your blood?
What the hell?